time to get set up for camp. I already got my warmer clothing on, and of course my NJYM camp bandana. But it is early. Gabby has gone. I told her to get going quick because I want to make sure she's gone while I'm safe getting ready so she doesn't get lost or anything like that. Starts tomorrow morning. So one of the nice things about being in the Pine Barrens is you have an unlimited supply of pine needles to start fires. Now, I attempted to do this with a flint and a ferro rod earlier. I think that's what it's called, ferro rod, whatever it is. Yeah, absolute failure. So I used a lighter instead. Nice news is I've got a small fire. Reality is, I wonder how long am I going to be out here? Honestly, going to bed in a few minutes. It's like 7, but I'm going to start nestling in. But come on, you got to do it, right? So tomorrow starts the Batona Trail. It's 52.7 miles, somewhere around there. I'll find out at the end, but it's give or take that. I'm excited, a little nervous. Let's go. So, I'm leaving earlier for the Batona Trail, or later for the Batona Trail through hike than what I originally thought. Bag is packed. Side is cleared, not missing anything, I believe. It was colder than what I anticipated, but not that bad. I had a couple cool parts, but for a hammock, I had an underquilt, which really helped. I need to get a better sleeping bag. I put it off for years because I did not want to invest money in something I already had, but my bag is pathetic. That being said, my headlamp, I think the batteries died, even though I tested them before I left. Whatever. So that has set me back from like some early morning ambitions, but leaving camp, 7:04. Let's go. So, aside from dropping my phone on the ground, which is a classic moment here, a very cool thing you got to do is sign the trail register, kind of just documenting that you're doing this, which is very exciting. And then a little marker, which I will take one because mine is black and white and terrible. Yay! Starting at mile 0. Listening to Lord of the Rings Symphony Orchestra to start. It felt very appropriate. Excited to get going. Also excited that it'll heat up eventually. The night wasn't the worst, but it was cold. I go mainly to the fact that I'm not investing in a better sleeping bag. Not because I haven't spent money on gear, but mainly because I've wanted to buy so many other things. Now, that's really got to be something I correct for the next time I go camping, regardless of temperature. I've ignored it for too long. I also am a little behind, as I said earlier, but we'll see how the day plays out. The South Jersey Hiking Club also installed mile markers everywhere, really to help keep the area intact, better of like, hey, not get lost, where are you at, which is super nice. Super helpful for pacing too, of like, okay, I've got a GPS, I've got things to help figure it out, but are you actually on the right route? Are you going enough time? Very grateful. I did take off a bunch of outer layers as well, so I am cooler, but anticipating the walk will warm me up. The main reason is when I camp tonight, I don't want any of them wet. I don't want any of them sweaty because being in a hammock, you already get a little bit of a breeze. You want to avoid anything extra. I do have to say though, the Eno Ember 2 underquilt was a great deal. Bought it years ago. Still not as warm as I would like, but definitely my butt was not frozen. It was a little damp, but honestly, yet again, I'd say if I had a better sleeping bag on top, that might have just solved that problem. It is a beautiful morning out here though. Loving it. 0.5, my first mile marker, affirming half mile marker actually. But so far, to the clubs that run the Batona Trail, it's absolutely outstanding. The mile markers are well maintained, and it is just a gorgeous view. Look at here. mistake on is it is hunting season, or at least a sign says it. I really don't know the dates of hunting season or recommended wearing fluorescent colors, and as you could tell, I am the epitome of first fashionability right now. But secondly, I am not wearing anything fluorescent here, apart from the bottom of the GoPro video stand. So yeah, maybe it's a good thing I didn't start ultra early today. It also helps that, like, if you know, the trail is ultra flat. Ground I actually think is very soft and very springy. I did quite a few miles last year in the Pine Barrens. I believe last year in the fall, and it was wonderful. In fact, one of the things I noted was how easy it was. Now, obviously, I'm carrying a much heavier backpack this time around, which does change how I perceive and do things, but very pleased nonetheless. Back to our time lapse. State Park Service attention visitors, adjacent lands are open for hunting. Uh-oh. The first official mile completed. Very proud of that. Kind of. It's not much. Now there's a great beauty to just being out in nature on days when no one is here. It's interesting kind of reflection that you get on this type of thing, multiple levels. First, literally as we're talking, the Lord of the Rings soundtrack is playing through my mind, not through my mind, through my AirPods, the symphonic version. But it also kind of brings up to mind, and oh, there it is, that's the stuff right there. All right, let me try that, explaining that again. Absolute failure because it was too beautiful. But it's cool on a multiple levels being out here right now. First, Lord of the Rings soundtrack is playing through my ears, the symphonic version. Movement 2, be really right when the Fellowship got to Lorien after the death of Gandalf the Grey. Too soon, always too soon. But it's also very interesting, kind of like the aspects, thinking through just like ministry following Jesus, where Jesus says to get away. Now, this isn't like everybody's version of getaway, nor should it be, gotta do you. But there's a cool point of just time away to think and to kind of zone out a little. And not to just zone out, but to also think and to enjoy some good things. This also comes up to me at the beach, but, I'm reading through Mark in our Bible through the year plan right now. And the big one is always saying, hey, Jesus was alone at different times praying. And I'm not even claiming I will be praying all the time. It'll be probably pretty sporadic between like gasping for breaths and being tired and all. But it is cool to just have some time where there is a little bit more intentionality to rest and Sabbath. Although there is deep irony that this is primarily a walking adventure. But in some ways, I want that. I want to burn out a little physically, not mentally and emotionally. I believe the physical actually help the emotional and spiritual. It's quite exciting. 2 mile mark. That's right. That puts me at about 1/13 of what I need to do today. But I feel pretty good about that timing. I definitely want to keep moving, not like at an exhausting pace, but at a good brisk. There's no point in running and burning yourself out early on. But definitely working to make sure, hey, don't slack off. That note, the trail is almost entirely flat. It's gorgeous. There's good spring, no water, no mud. Really, it was a great week to do this. The conditions, it's soft on the feet, but firm enough that you're not like sinking in. No one's out here, so you really kind of have your space. And no one shot at me yet because of hunting season. All of those things are huge wins in my mind. Back to nature. That is also the name of the Batona Trail, the Back to Nature, Batona. So, I wish I knew more facts off the top of my head. I did watch an incredible presentation from I believe the South Jersey Hiking Club on YouTube. It's from the Pinelands Commission, but the two members, I want to say it was Terry and somebody else put it on. They gave a mile-by-mile presentation of the entire Batona, which was incredible, and just hats off of being super informative, super clear, and really just with the work done, making this trail so beyond accessible. All right. I don't know if that's a beaver dam that's holding this back, but it's a little earthen dam, which is incredible that just this amount of earth is holding back that giant lake. Not giant lake, but it's just an impressive feat, because if you did that, that would, I don't know if it would wipe me out, but I would definitely be knocked over. It'd be very cold if I got hit by all that water, but impressive nonetheless. Just, physics and nature are amazing, really are. Hey, coming back out. 0.5. That's kind of exciting, because that is roughly about a sixth of what I need to do today. Now I've already broken that down, but it's pretty exciting just being able to experience truth. Some things running through the mind. My phone only shows SOS mode, so that seems discouraging if something were to happen. All Trails is apparently a little off here. I thought I heard a deer, which would make sense. I saw one at camp this morning before kind of walking away. It is, I don't know if it is deer season yet. Really need to be more up on this. As a Pennsylvania guy, although I've never hunted myself, I feel like I should know that. But those are a few observations. The New Jersey NJYM camp bandana is amazing. I feel like I'm learning a survivor lesson here. Back to the trail. I'm at the point where I can now wear my Chacos barefoot, which is good. They're getting a little sweaty, but now they're nice, lean, and clean. Oh yeah. There's nothing sexier than Chacoed feet. That's how I won Gabby over. Started with Chacos at camp, not this pair, obviously. I had the ones with toe loops at the time. Man, I know what the styles are to get my wife to say, Adam, I want to marry you. So I just crossed into Wharton State Forest just maybe half mile ago, maybe less than that. And interestingly, it's just, maybe it's the change of day, but it's lighter. It's brighter. Trees are a little bit more spaced apart. It definitely reminds me of Lord of the Rings. I mean, you know, it's that funny spot of like, okay, granted I'm watching Rings of Power. Gabby and I are just watched through the Hobbit trilogy. We're in the Return of the King right now. So everything reminds me of Lord of the Rings. But there is this sense of like, wow, this is beautiful. It's not Mirkwood. I don't think it's quite Lorien. It's not Fangorn, because you don't sense it, that there's anger or frustration. Although I am interested to see where we'll get to the fire. So over the summertime, actually, just as a historical record, myself, my brother-in-law Liam, and several friends, we were going to do this trail as a group. But there was a giant fire in the Pine Barrens that we would have kind of been able to do it all. But there were a couple logistical hurdles that we said, hey, this isn't the best trip anymore, just because we're gonna have to make some tough decisions. We're gonna have to go out and back. It's gonna defeat some of the unity. We ended up kayaking, canoeing down the Delaware, about 74 miles. But here, this is just so fascinating, because it's, okay, hey, why? What is the feel of this? Maybe it's a forest near the Shire. I feel like that would probably, maybe near Farmer Maggot's crop. Now, what's also interesting here is all the little trees. Look, all these mature ones over here, really just like plants, smaller plants. Now little pine trees, little things going up. Just hundreds of these. So I bet a bunch of them won't make it, because they'll start over collapsing on each other. But I am curious. I don't know where the area was the fire ripped through exactly and all of this, but I knew it was in Wharton State Forest, I believe. I am curious. I don't think this is already the healing from it. It would seem too unlikely. But the vibe here is good. It's an interesting thing because you could feel like some places are like naturally more depressing, and not even talking like on a spiritual level. You could just tell like it's not a great place. Here, it's quiet. Hear that? Nothing. It's still. So, what is the feel of this forest? And that's interesting, thinking through like just a philosophical concept. Does geography impregnate emotions and history with that in some ways? Which, I mean, granted, thinking through, there could be a spiritual component to it. But like, say for example, I've gone to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. Not Jewish, I'm a Christian, although being a Christian, just like a Jewish person, that would be an important point for my faith. Different interpretation than for our Jewish friends, but still historically an important aspect. There's an emotion with that location, and you can see it whether you're a religious person or a secular person. There is a spiritual and a physical and emotional impact that comes in with that place. Another place, of course, obviously, like when you see great vistas in places, of course you know that there's just a there's an impact. This doesn't say Mirkwood. It doesn't have the grandiosity of what Lorien would be in the emotionality. I feel like it has to be more of a shire, a wholesome impact, a place that you could live. Fangorn, thinking through this, and it's circular, so I get to turn left up here. How exciting. Going through Lord of the Rings and then conceptualizing. Fangorn's restless. There's anger. There's negativity associated with that. Mirkwood is a place, and it's being lost and being restored. So perhaps in a second age or later fourth or beginning fourth age, it would be an excellent place to be. But in reality, there's many things. Oh, maybe I don't turn over here. And then, of course, you see Lorien, which is a beautiful place to go to, but I don't feel like it's a place you actually live. No, I keep going straight. My bad, G. That's why I think the Shire, those woods, this is what Wharton would be. Now, this is interesting because right over here, just dead trees. Geography is just a fascinating thing, as well as the impact of us spiritually and emotionally and thought-wise. Little turn up here. I'm going to say it's up here to the left. We shall see. This is Martha's Bridge. I was able to do a little fact checking here. Apparently this is from when this stream rose. It kind of got washed away. I think there might have been some beaver issues at some point, which, who doesn't love a beaver? So, very cool. It still feels pretty stable and safe. Feels a little funny with it, but I like it. I love a good bridge. Also some deep irony. Martha's Bridge, which is quite exceptional. That's fun. Every sermon that I've heard on the subject of Mary and Martha has always been like, yes, be Mary, don't be Martha. I gotta tell you, Mary didn't build a bridge to get me across it. You know who did? Martha. There is some things to be said about a person who gets stuff done. Oh, and is there a speed sign right here? Ayo. What is this? Weight limit 7 tons. Beautiful. Now, one of the funny things about having crossed Martha's Bridge is actually how it almost sounds like there are voices right around. Like it's the musical melody of the water. It's very confusing. Also, look, just yet again, contrast. And there are tons of trees, some alive, partially dead. Just in the cedar. And come around here. It's just fascinating to me, in like such short spaces, because earlier they're very spread out, very open brush. Here, super dense. Very much more, in my mind, kind of like, actually it's still very happy, but it would lean more of like, built up like a Mirkwood. But yeah, you could hear voices by Martha's Bridge. I thought they were going to be the first person I see today, which ironically, since getting on this trail, I have seen 0 human beings. So in the last, got this on my GPS here, aside from walking on the road to get here, that's a fair thing, but actually on foot in the last 8.6 miles, last 3 hours of my life, I've encountered 0 people. I don't mean like, okay, just a little bit, like, okay, I haven't talked to them. I mean, I have not seen a person, which leads me to believe Did Putin nuke somebody? Am I by myself? Hasn't been terrible. I do miss Gabby and Seth, but the concept of solitude, not isolation, is a good one. Which is another reflection. This is turning to way more meditative practices, I suppose. But thinking through, sometimes people say, oh, I hate the concept of being alone. But you really should like it. Solitude is a good thing. It's a time of reflection. Because you notice, if you have to be with a person, you don't end up being in a great relationship with that person. Because the obligation, not the obligation, but the absolute need that you can't do something leads to confusion, it leads to an imbalance. Instead, the choice to be, the attitude, and even the imperative to be is very different than the sense of, okay, hey, I've got to do something because I can't handle being alone. You want to choose to be with something or someone because you want to, not because you can't be alone. It's actually, I think, a lot of problems with relationships. People don't choose to be in them because, oh, you want and you really like this person. You just don't want to be alone, which isn't a great advice. It's like saying, yes, I ate bad eggs because it was the only thing in the fridge. Well, I tell you, go get some new eggs. Anyway, this is philosophy on the trail. Hey. You know, the interesting thing is, I've been walking for 3.5 hours or so. I've seen now 2 people, and this is the first time in that time frame I've gotten outside of that woods, which is an incredible thing if you think about that. You could walk, and granted, it's loops, it's not straightforward, there's things, but it's for 3 continuous hours. I walked with no road. Most of that without cell phone reception. Actually, let me check now. Yeah, still no cell phone reception. See that? Gabby's there. That's a fascinating thing in the modern world. 3 hours, no road. Most of it with very little, if any, cell phone reception. Still don't have it. What's that say? There's still a lot more wilderness in our world than I think we know. And we're back in beautiful nature as well. Another beautiful pond. What? You know, this is incredible. Oh, a little dam, a little bridge area. You know, the incredible thing is, and I'm a Pennsylvania guy. Never grew up loving New Jersey. This is in New Jersey. And yet, this isn't talked about. The beauty of our nature, the beauty of so many things that we have. You know, you hear about the end of the world, all the climate stuff, and by all means, we should be taking care of the climate. But you know what we often forget is, man, 20 minutes, an hour from where many of us live, work, there is vast quantities of land that are fully preserved. You know, looking at it, if you've ever seen some of the articles that individuals from other countries, when they come to the United States, one of the things that's often highlighted that is just so amazing is our national park system. Now, this is a state park, to be fair, but our park system, it's not a state-run get-rich-quick scheme. It's open, it's accessible. Yes, there are some quotas we have to, but that's for the good of the park itself. Look here. These trees are massive. This is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's a state park. I didn't pay $1 to get here. Yes, we paid taxes, that's there. But you didn't need a registry. I paid for a campsite, that's fair. But just the knowing that there is a lot of renewal, even in the midst of areas where, sure, we do have to care more about the climate. Yes, there is temperatures rising. Yes, we have to figure out new and innovative ways. But I think there's an issue if you're only doom and gloom and you never look to what is good. Because you're spurring a person only to negativity. It doesn't do as much as if you also give them an idealized future of what could and should be. Stopping a 2.5 degrees isn't that compelling. But imagine a world where beauty and nature and humankind interacted a little bit more. In a picture of that pond, or an area where you didn't have to dig for coal. And I come from coal country, but instead that could be restored and could be used by children. Imagine an industry where, man, you could employ thousands of people doing great jobs that take care, provide more clean environmental areas. Be good stuff. Now, at mile 9.5, this is good. I've just seen this for the first time a little bit back, but it's a metal Batona plate. These are actually, I believe, among the, I don't know if the original, but much more elderly blazes on the trail. It was metal plates versus just being painted on, which is interesting because we finished much of the early reroute. So the actual map on New Jersey's website is outdated because in 2012, the earlier parts were rerouted, as well as another part, I believe the beginning was in 2012, then in Franklin Parker Preserve, later on in the second half of this, there was another reroute. So for example, like right here, it's not 50 miles, it's 52.7, I believe. There's issues here. Like right up in here, it doesn't note that, oh no, it does have this, that there's Franklin Parker Preserve. No, but actually, should be, I believe, going, I don't know. It's hard to tell. But the map is not quite accurate. Second road crossing. Still only 2 people for the entire day. Incredible. So just past 15.5. That means that there'll be the campsite down there, which is good because that kind of gives some relativity here. So if I'm 15.5, that means I've got 10.5 miles left to go today. It also means it is time to take a break for lunch. Kind of a moment of, okay, I've been pushing. It's another long break. Absolutely don't want that. Need to keep moving forward. But also a simple part of, I gotta sit down for a little bit here to make sure. All of maybe 7 minutes. But these 7 minutes are critical to taking a breather. Oh, and stretching out a leg. And taking maybe a little ibuprofen. Head's good. My leg's a bit sore, my left leg. So I've been monitoring that. It hasn't gotten worse. It's just been, feels like it needs a good stretch. Hopefully this will help. I'm ready for some lunch. All right, lunch is finished. Got about 10.5 miles to go, give or take. So 3.5 hours, assuming a 3 mile per hour pace. Probably not that. 4 hours, which means 5:30. Later than what I'd like, but not terrible. I set out about an hour later than what I wanted to, so balances. Let's kick it. Could do this. Got some ibuprofen as well. My left leg is still quite tight, but I think that's just hey, gotta keep it going. Yee. Well, God's provision is interesting. Not everybody believes it. I do, of course. I'm a Christian. But, earlier, one of my chief worries about the last bit was that I don't have a headlamp. Makes life much, much more difficult, of course. Especially if, hey, I want to hit this on time. I need to get my camp set up. There's all this. I want to leave early so I finish at a time I want to. I did have a headlamp. Batteries evidently died. Found one on the ground. Thought, I'm like, oh, okay, it's got to be trash because it's there. Turned it on. Working like a clam. Doesn't have to do a lot, but honestly, I need about 45 minutes of use on it, tops, to really have it make a big difference in my entire trip, because those 45 minutes will compound. Beyond excited. This is a gift and a providence from God. It's also funny because how dramatic this actually makes me feel. I'm not worried about my safety here. Still only seen 2 people walking the entire day. But I think in terms of preparation and stability, so in terms of, hey, the timeline of when do I get somewhere, when can I start doing something, am I safe doing that? I'm not worried about anybody hurting me, but I am concerned of like, man, I have certain things that if I don't do them on the right time or have the right resources, will it be harder? This is a great gift. Just finished at Batso Village. Got my permit, refilled water, which is very convenient and great. And now I've got about 7 miles to go to get to Lower Forge, which is farther than what I'd like to walk right now. Not in the way of, I feel good about doing it. That's not a worry. I just would love to get settled for the night. But I am thrilled. it'll be half the entire trip done. Now technically on the map tomorrow is longer than today, but because I had to walk more to get there this morning, they even out. But oh yeah, there it is. 7 to 8 miles to go. The lovely lady at the desk thought it was 4. Got me so excited. But now with a headlamp, that's also a nice relief. Weather's supposed to be a little warmer too tonight. Life is good. All right, Batona Trail. I think it is still more than that, than the 26.5. But I'm all in it to win it. Let's go. All right. Destruction and reconstruction in the area. Oh, man. It's been good, making great progress. Woods are definitely thinner out here, which is interesting. But, well, I think actually a lot of this went down with the fire recently, which makes sense because Batso was shut down. But one thing that's, you know, I gotta tell you, I'm feeling. I restocked in all that water right then because normally I'd actually know about 13 miles away up at another station. I know there's water I could refill, but for the whole night, one for cooking, but also I love drinking water at night. Love being ultra hydrated. Kind of good way to start the day. So a little flustered of like, oh, put on 4 liters of water. Heavy. No bueno. Grinding. I am tired, little puppy. That water definitely is weighing me down. I think I got like 5 miles to go. It's 4:02, so just adjusting for reality on here, probably 6. Knowing that there's either going to be a break or a slower pace. I mean, it's fairly obvious I'm not moving as quick, but I have a headlamp now. I've been moving for about 11 hours. So, assuming I finish at 6, just pretty exciting. Basically, I'm gonna make dinner, maybe drink a cup of tea, bundle in all my clothing and set up camp and go to bed. Boy, beautiful landscape still. Definitely getting a great workout in. Very sleepy workout. 4:41 and still waddling along. Definitely tired. You know, I feel great mentally, but I could tell like, oh yeah, I'm ready to get a snack and be done. The water definitely is. It's the right thing. You need it for the night. You don't want to carry all of it, but man, it's there. That being said, I think I've got about another hour and it'll be good. Even setting up camp will be just a relief. It is already starting to get a little cool. You can tell the sun's starting to get behind the trees. So when I hit the next mile marker, my self-proclaimed thing is to start putting on some layers to just make sure I don't get cold. But making good pace. Whew, thanks to that headlamp, a lot less concerned now though. Tons less concerned. Very grateful for that. And is that a mile marker? There's 23. Hey-oh. All right, got my little solo stove working for dinner. I get that and establish a good little burn in there. But here is Lower Forge Camp. As far as I can tell, I'm the only person here. So whoop whoop. I'm gonna focus in on cooking because that's more important. So I've got rice cooking right now, which I'm very excited about. I also have, of course, a little cup of tea, which I'm equally excited about. Actually, I'm more excited about the rice. I don't know why I made the tea first. Just felt like it would probably be a good option. Very hearty to have a warm drink. Alright, it is a balmy 7:09, and I am wrapped up in here. It's not cold yet, so I'm trying to get a jump start on any of those things and just enjoy a night. Not gonna lie, it's a little freakier just being totally alone out here, but it is a campsite. I moved my trash a little further away. ready for bed. Good night. Made the night through. Had a couple friends join. Late, but they were good at like 9:30. I was worried it was gonna be a crazy party, and they just seemed like nice people camping down there. I also keep hearing, I think, some animals being eaten. Might just be a rabbit, to be honest. But I gotta tell you, whatever it is loud. So loud. But I am up early because I want coffee. I know that I get caffeine headaches, so I want to adjust for this accordingly and get to it early. Also, it's cold and I want something to drink. Ooh. So I got my little solar stove going with fire for morning coffee. Really, actually, what I'm adjusting right now is I'm trying to get rid of my rice in the bottom here. Yesterday, see if I can get it. I'm gonna have, sorry, you can see here, it's a rice flavored coffee this morning. And chicken, I guess, a little too, but boiled off to what I could. Behold my coffee. It's a little gross, to be honest, because it's definitely got a rice tint, but it's not bad. And I've got coffee, so I'm winning. It's also starting to get light, which is nice because it'll get warmer. Last night was somehow colder, but better. I don't know. I did forget to mention my coffee idea this morning. Now, obviously, it was rice coffee water with Folgers instant packets, which, for the record, the Folgers instant packets, I've used them before. They're great, especially when you compare prices. I mean, if you're doing this type of coffee, be real with yourself. It's good stuff. Don't waste the money on Star BB. Although I'm not anti-Starbucks. But normally I drink quite a bit of coffee. So it's like yesterday I actually had a La Colombe. I just brought it so I can move quicker. And then, drink it, dropped it before I left the camp even. But in all of this, it would be, well, how do you get enough coffee compared to your normal day? The answer, I figured, was just simple. I threw 3 coffee packets right into that one. So I figured it's gotta be 3 times, it's equivalent to the caffeine of 3 cups. And I gotta tell you, I do feel a little wired. It's awesome. Bulldozed road. This sand is actually way less conducive than the hiking trails. The sand is quite harder to walk on. That's not bad, actually, but some of the more loose sand, it's a nightmare to keep going through for a while. That'll wear you down. But if it's packed down like this isn't bad. But yeah, take a look at the beautiful views of this morning in the meantime. 10 out of 10. I'm loving how light my backpack feels. Thing that might mean I'm just being a fatty on the trip too. Eating a lot. Yeah, I ate a packet of instant rice, which was flavored deliciously. Not bad at all. And then 2 packets of the instant chicken last night. Gotta tell you, always thought it looked creepy. Incredible. Granted, I was hungry, and hunger is the best flavor. But gotta tell you, I was able to heat that up, cook it, didn't even use the spices that I brought for it. I'll save those for another time. Probably just at home, actually. Use those, don't need to store them, grab one I need. But not bad. Also, the value that you could eat it right out of there. The heating up was just more morale building. Didn't have to worry about cooking it, which is something I very liked. And here we go. Love to see that sun come through like this. Come on up, son. It is cold without you. I want you so bad. That took the socks off my feet. Been having them beneath there to just keep the feet warm, but could tell they were getting a bit sweaty, which is gonna create some blisters. I could feel it, the sweat getting in there. So feet are a little colder, but they shouldn't blister, or they may still, but at least not in an environment conducive, not supersized. But what a morning. Gorgeous fields. I love it. You love to see it. You love to see it. And now you could keep going. Actually making a much better pace than what I thought. So it's about 2.9 miles per hour, which is pretty much where I want to be at. I love 3, but this is also realistic. It's not just walking time. So my time of 2.8 miles per hour yesterday, on average, on the aggregate, is realistic to every break, every moment it took me to get the permit. That is what the entire day looked like. So just walking would probably be more high, but I've wanted to see, like, okay, what is the reality of this? Because I think that actually speaks to quite a bit of, like, how long does it take? Sure, you could say it's 3 miles, but you don't take in, hey, you need a lunch, you need this, that. It's like, okay, this is what it was actually done, and which I think is more helpful information in terms of reality. So yeah, either way, I think 2.9, so I should have about 2-ish miles to the Batona camp. Could refill water, then actually moving onto a trail I did years ago, 2 years ago. I think it was the year of COVID. I am curious if I'll get to go to the Apple Pie Hill Watchtower. Don't feel like that's likely. Heyo, there are quite a few railroad tracks, I believe, coming up. Oh yeah. Well, not getting through that way. Always a fun spot. Also getting very close to the Batona camp now, which is very satisfying to me. Made great progress this morning. Really, this is the other area I've wanted to get through. At the end of the Batona camp is Apple Pie, or going through that area that you'd get to Apple Pie Hill, which is kind of a it's a more popular area. I just wanted to clear through some of the areas that are gonna maybe that might get a little more crowded early, and I'm grateful for it. Right now it says I got 7 hours left, which would put me finishing at 4 o'clock, I believe. It won't be 4, maybe 5, but I'm excited about that time frame. Legs are doing okay. Left leg I'm definitely feeling, but you know, just keeping pace. Definitely would like, so on the gear wish list, the correct part for the solo stove, a pot, because then it'll collapse down and be more condensed. Not really a weight saver per se, but it definitely space saver, which could just be just as good. I'd really appreciate that. Hiking poles and a better a better sleeping bag. Also, having a belt for this. So I'm using the Zerk from Mountainsmith, the backpack. Love everything about it, especially love this. But just having a small pocket here would be great for a couple things, like I have a little map, chapstick that wouldn't get boxed down here and crammed in. Be nice to spread it out more, but really, aside from that, no critique on the backpack itself. It's an amazing thing. I think we are getting very close. This is very exciting. Also means some extra water. Oh, that is a real road. How exciting. How exciting. It's been a while. I think this will become a little more frequent now. The Cranston Monument. Not on the Batona Trail, but 0.2 miles away. It was, I believe it's Emilio Carranza. He's basically the Lindenberg of Mexico. And he crashed around here. People come every year to recall him. Nothing. I like it. Finally made it to the Batona camp. I'm on the outskirts here. Now, this would have been, oh gosh, it would have been 5-6 more miles from yesterday, straight on the Batona. The one nice thing is, you walk right into it. It is the area of, honestly, I could not have physically done it, but man, if maybe you'd been up 2 hours earlier, been in better shape, any of those things, if you can make it here, there is that really nice, it's a small advantage, but it is. I'm not here to underestimate the fact that a little less walking is usually welcome everywhere. I also really need to make sure to watch for, there should be a bit closer down here, I believe, a water pump, which is important to me because I don't want to filter water. I have my Life Straw. Life Straws are great. But honestly, it's harder to get a lot of water down quick. Also want some time where you could just do a mass replenishment. But it is pretty here. Psychologically, it feels like a new era. The last period between Batona and here has felt particularly exhausting. So this just feels like, okay, new area. Nothing special, just psychologically it feels a little bit more exciting to me. Anyway, let's see if we can get some water soon. Got the Batona water pump right here. Very excited about that. All right. Exiting the Batona camp. Was grateful. Got to use a primitive toilet. Should have taken a little more video on that probably, but that's a me time type of thing, which is good. Didn't really need to go too bad, but you know, you have it. It's better than squatting out in the open. So it's like, I don't want to waste time going to the bathroom and trying to push to go to the bathroom. And at the same time, it's way more comfortable and convenient to go in a place where you got an easier place to squat. I guess the area that I have to commit on, I'm not an efficient user of wet wipes. Applies to me, applies to Seth. Just once I see the filth, how could you put it back on a person? Anyway, leaving the Batona camp. Very grateful for this. It was a little bit of a longer break than what I would have thought, but definitely one of those like, okay, restocked on water, went to the bathroom. This is ate a bagel, so got some food down in me. Prep snacks. Definitely moving slower, but it did feel like, okay, this is a great preparation. You got a good chunk. Also broke it up at mile 40. I know Pock Pond is where they say, I don't, will be a little bit more logical. Mile 40 regardless though, and that's lunch. 46 will be kind of like that half break in there. Same thing with 36 or 35. But throughout the first part of the day, already knocked off 6 miles. So while there is a long part of the day, I'm happy. Just one of those conquering some of this. Also, yet again, when I say crowded, these aren't crowded places, but it is nice where, okay, the 1 or 2 more touristy spots, you know, moving through them early in the morning does help. All right, and the field over there is a little atypical. I like it. It's beautiful. Now we're also going to get a good view of a nice little bog coming up here. It's way down there. I'm actually charging while we do this, which is very exciting. Got a new power bank for all this, I think I said earlier, so that way I could just leave on. I know the reception is terrible. 10 out of 10, no regrets. Just really made sure. But that's pretty, I don't care who you are. That's a pretty little view out there. I'm gonna take a moment. Don't like a side trail because it's a lot of extra work. This is beautiful and desolate. Approaching Appleby Hill, still some distance away. Cute little boardwalks are back. Love a little boardwalk. Love a boardwalk. My enemy is coming up. Not normally an enemy, normally I love it. But today, hills are my enemy. They are evil. Yeah. Fortunately, the Batona Trail only has like 2 hills. I think this is one of the 2. Forget where the second one is. Better that I don't know, maybe. Might be too demoralizing. Actually, very excited starting now. Not for the hills. They are going to be a very big pain for me in the near future. But I'm very excited that I have started getting a bit more cell phone reception, which is good because I'm trying to coordinate with my brother-in-law, Liam, who is amazing. He's picking me up later. Get to hear from Gabby and of course, Seth. He's not a great texter yet. It's very frustrating. But, you know, we'll work on him. We got to get him a phone maybe. That, or maybe by the time he's old enough to, you could just think it and it'll come to us. But it's good to hear from them a little bit more. But yeah, it'd be great to be able to share some things. Actually, really the key thing is for Liam, just send him the parking coordinates and a rough ETA just to kind of orient. But also, it's just been so tough to get a cell phone or internet. I should have had that done beforehand. Truly my bad on that. So, but excited, I'm moving a lot better, a lot quicker. Grateful I was able to take off most of my outer layers and now just trucking along. It's a beautiful day. Could not be happier about it all. I have arrived. This is the hill leading to, what's it? Oh my gosh, Apple Pie Hill. This is not a big hill. I've walked through this before years ago, but I gotta tell you, my legs are on fire. This is terrible, but it's good. Send a picture of the fire tower from the top. Apple Pie Hill, Apple Pie Fire Tower. It eludes me once again to get to see it. I get to go to the top. That's okay, it is majestic and beautiful. Now where do I go from here? All right. Disappointment not to get to climb to the top of Apple Pie Hill Fire Tower again, but actually a nice little road walk, and the benefit for having gone up so high is, boom, get to walk downhill. Also, judging by the amount of fires here, don't know how great they're doing at spotting the fire. So, man, you let me climb it? I'm joking. I'm sure they're doing a great job. It's a very difficult job, and I respect firefighters tremendously. That being said, it's nice to just be able to walk down a little. Oh, the trekking poles would be great. Should have bought them. What can you do? Oh, this is exciting. So right here, we're leaving Wharton State Forest. I believe this is about to enter the Franklin Parker Preserve. And let me tell you, I've walked the Franklin Parker Preserve last spring. Or was it last fall? It was one of those two. It is just incredible. It's a beautiful place, highly recommend it. It's donated land, just really expansive. So I'm excited to get to a little familiar terrain there as well, although this is vaguely, but I'm really excited to just see a beautiful spot again. Then the last parts after that will be completely new. Parker Preserve. How cute is this? Oh yeah. So I've been doing okay. Definitely tired. I like it. It is a good push. I was wondering whether or not I feel some limits, and I am. I'm excited to sit down in 2 miles. I'm excited for a little lunch. Then I'll be 12.5, so it'll be over halfway done. Should actually be over halfway pretty soon, but for today, that is. Whew. I'm really enjoying it. I'm very grateful. So this is a fun fact, not original. This is taken from the South Jersey Hiking Club's Zoom call on this, but they had to rebuild this bridge because of apparently beavers, I think. Here's the original, and this is oh yeah, that's a little prickly. Oh boy, losing my footing, not a good thing. Not the most steady lad. But yeah, quite beautiful. I believe this was actually called the Drunken Hobbit Bridge, if I could be right on that. But yeah, it's a wonderful bridge. South Jersey Hiking Club, as always. Excellent work. At this point, counting the 2 people that camped, I've still only seen 7 people. I'm not going to count the man that just pulled off to the side of the road and almost started peeing in front of me. Doesn't count to the process. But, I mean, he's as close as anybody else, I guess. His son sitting on the back of the pickup. Older dude, like my age. So, yeah. Wild times. Wild times. But almost at mile 40. I'm starving, so I'm so excited for that. Oi. Mile 40. Said I was gonna eat no matter what. I lied. It's a terrible spot. If I had eaten just a quarter mile ago. This is gonna end fairly soon though. But very disheartening. But it'll be closer to being done. So 50-50 I guess, but very brutal. Very brutal. Have a walking stick now. The only thing I can think that's encouraging to me is that once I do get a good spot, I'll be even closer. I think my focus on is still enjoyment. I'm just, truthfully, this would be more than what I would take on for, then I'm grateful to push myself in this. So for that, it's good. For a fun hike, probably would do this in 3 20-mile 3 17-mile days, give or take. So that's where I realized, like, oh, I'm grateful for this though, but because it's a good push, which is the motivation to keep going. But yeah, very different than like, oh, this is good relaxing. This is relaxing, but in a different way. Now, prior to starting, I seriously debated getting trekking poles, but I only had so much I could use in terms of my RE gift card, and I got a stove instead. Using these as my trekking poles, truthfully, feels much better. Still in pain, but it's incredible differences. Feel like I'm hobbling along way less. Prior to the next major hike, there are gonna be a couple big upgrades. If nothing else, trekking poles, because they're easily done. But yeah, so excited about this. Here they are. This is easily one of the most dense places I've encountered on the trail. We're getting closer to Pack-In Pond. And we got a bunch of these little guys. Oh gosh, slipped off of that. Whew. This is so cool. This is Fangorn Forest right here. Definitely Fangorn. I'm gonna stop because I keep dropping. There's plenty more to say about Pack-In Pond area, but this area has, including a little pump here, it's cute. It's everything to me right now. It's really important, very helpful, very encouraging. Bathroom, water, and I get dump trash. It's a big deal. Whew, definitely hobbling along now. But I had to get some ibuprofen, which is good. I got to use the restroom, which was great. And I'll throw out an added bonus. I got to throw away trash, which it wasn't much, but probably about a pound added on. Which, yet again, what's a pound? Well, a pound's a lot when you're walking so far. But also, I gotta tell you, it's a very self-defeating pound when you're not carrying something that's useful to you. You're carrying something that you want to throw away. Obviously, you don't leave things in nature. It's called leave no trace. You want to just basically don't pollute nature, keep it clean. But I was really grateful. It was a moral victory. I was able to reload on an appropriate amount of water. Got like 8 miles to go. It's cooler. I was able to drop a water bottle. It was like, you know what? It was a plastic, just junk one. It was like, okay, if I'm not using it now, it is going. So I was able to get rid of a couple small things. That was good. 44.5. So it is 52.7. Oh God. 8.25 miles to go. So I'm figuring it's gonna take me like 3 hours. I'm not moving particularly quick, but I'm anticipating finishing. I don't know if I will. Obviously I don't want to speak so confidently. Anything could happen, but I believe I will. I'm dressed warm. Got a headlamp still. I'm very grateful for this great weekend. All right, let's keep going. Brendan T. Brine, the last section of the Batona. It's beautiful, strong. I'm struggling, but I'm making good pace thanks to my walking sticks. Pure motivation. It's been great. I'd do it again, but I do it over 3 days. This has been a great push physically, internally, and emotionally though. I love it. The last bit here, I'm trying to truck it as much as I can. I think I've got 3-4 miles left, and my brother-in-law is coming in, and I didn't look down there, that hurt. Whew. In an hour, so I'm trying to be honoring to that time. Might be a few minutes late. Trying to move on as quick as I can. A lot of hustle. 3.75 miles to go. I gotta tell you, these sticks really, really, really help my knees. I'm very grateful for that. Honestly, this is just, it's all the difference. So thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God, for these. But yeah, that's a big difference for the length of my feet. So sticks definitely on the next list. There we are. 50 miles down. 2.75 to go. So close. I'm trucking it. I feel I've got a new lease and maybe a desire for food. Beautiful evening. That's good hours. Just Trying to roll quick. Love it. It's official. I now need a headlamp. Not that I can't see a trail, but it's harder to see the trail markers. So here we go. Shout out to the hiking club who has these little glow dots here to help. It makes seeing in the dark much easier. 10 out of 10. Not on all of them, but on many of them. Very grateful. We are in the heart of darkness right here. Oy vey. Ready to... Well, I'm grateful for my headlamp, beyond grateful. But I am ready to finish on up. It's been a good time, but it's time to go home. 52.7, or 52.75 left. Nothing around here. On the ground to add some challenges to this last few feet, but we are getting there. So close. Just want to make sure I'm on course. I'm not going to talk too much here. All right, I hit the end. It's a big deal. There's gonna be a lot more reflection, but I gotta get going.